So it looks like we're getting a new toy line from McFarlane Toys, and it's called Page Punchers, and it comes in both a 3-inch version and a 7-inch version. But is this any good, and are these worth your money? Be sure you stick around, soulmates, because we're going to talk about what characters we'd love to see in a Page Punchers wave next. If you support what I do, please click subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss a single video of mine when it comes out. This is a pretty decent sculpt of Black Adam, and it looks mostly like how he did in Endless Winter, the comic book that's included with this action figure, but I do notice that his cape doesn't have the gold medallions, I guess you might call them, on his chest that attach to his cape, and he also doesn't have the gold trim on his cape. But otherwise, this is a pretty decent action figure. You look at the cape and it's got some nice folds all over it. It looks very well molded, and you look at the arms and the legs, and the details of his boots and gauntlets are there. He looks really good, and they've even got texture on the arms and legs and his body. Everything here looks unique to Black Adam, and I'm surprised they were able to fit so much detail on a 3-inch action figure. Next up is the Flash, and this one comes with a Flashpoint comic book, and this one has some pretty nice details too. You see the Flash emblem sculpted on his chest, and you see some texture down on his arms and legs, and it really makes the action figure that much more special because it feels like he's wearing a actual costume here, you know? I really like the sculpt on this. He feels really long and lanky. My only complaint though is that it's kind of hard to make out the details on his face, and maybe it's going to be different once we see the action figure in real life, but right now can't really see his mouth. And another thing I don't really like is that he's got an open hand, and I don't really know what he's going to do with it because he doesn't come with any accessories, and I think it maybe would have been better if he had a fist. Next up is Superman, and this one is probably my least favorite of the bunch, not because it's really bad, but because it feels like it's lacking something, and I think that maybe if it had that red ring around his legs, maybe that would make it better, because that's technically how Rebirth Superman is supposed to look, and they don't have that red line around the top of his boots. Also, there's this gap between the shoulders and the body, and I'm wondering if the arms have more articulation than I thought they did. I'm not sure about that, but looking at it head on, it does look a little weird. This one comes packaged with a Rebirth Superman comic, of course. And finally, the last toy in the 3-inch line is Hush Batman, and this one's kind of a surprise for me because I think that this one might be the best action figure in the whole wave. What strikes me is that his hands look really good. They look really animated, and so does his cape. It's kind of just flowing in the wind, and his head sculpt is really top-notch too. He looks really angry. When you look up close at this one, the bat insignia on his chest is even raised up, so the sculpting work on this one, just like all the others, is really good. My only note about this one is that the gloves are painted on, and it doesn't really jive with the piece when the boots are sculpted on and the trunks look to be sculpted on, and if they're going to do that, the gloves should be sculpted on there too. Just a little separation between the gloves and the arms. Naturally, of course, this one comes packaged with Batman 608, the beginning of the Hush storyline. After looking at all of these, I'd say that this is a great start to a new line, but we also have the 7-inch version of Page Punchers, and how does that compare? The first one in this line is Superman, and this version of him is really not my bag. I don't really care for the head sculpt, although the body does look really good, and the cape is interesting. It's not bad, it just looks very different from any version of Superman's cape that I've seen up to this point. Next up in this line is Batman. Of course, it's going to be Batman. Did you really expect not to see Batman? And of course, this is a pretty good version of Batman. I really like what they've done with this one. You guys know what I say, you can never have too much Batman, and McFarlane agrees, and he comes with a batarang. His cape also has a nice little action pose on it. I think that's a nice touch. It looks nice and leathery, and the armor on Batman looks really cool. Another thing I noticed is that the hands look really good on this one. He has one fisted hand and one slightly open hand that can hold a batarang. Next up in this wave is Black Adam, and this one is a really good action figure. The sculpt on him looks absolutely incredible. I have no idea what Black Adam looks like in this comic book, but I think that this one has some really exquisite work on it. This is probably the second best action figure in the entire wave. Looking at him, I do wonder why his hair is gray, but I imagine the story is going to explain that, I hope. Other than that, I really don't have any notes for this one because I think it looks a lot better than the Black Adam action figure we got with the Endless Winter wave. And next up is the action figure I think everyone is excited for in this line, John Constantine. He's a slam dunk. They nailed the sculpt on him. He looks like John Constantine is supposed to look, and he comes with some pretty cool accessories too. He comes with his little book of spells, and he comes with his little magic symbol accessory, and if there is an action figure to get in this wave, I think it's John Constantine because I can't find any flaws on him, and he is a picture-perfect rendition of the character. His hands look good, his hair looks perfect, the trench coat works, his sloppy-looking pants work. Everything on this one is great. Now that we've looked at the 3 and 7-inch lines, are these worth your money? I'd say that the 3-inch version is worth your money. The 7-inch version I'm a little bit more on the fence about because of the comic book issue, the fact that every action figure comes with the same comic. It just doesn't really justify the price when they all come with the same comic. The kicker is that this really could have been a great line. This could have been a Marvel Legends killer if they had just included the right kind of comic book with each action figure. They could have done a 4-part series like Batman 10 Nights of the Beast, or they could have just done like the 3-inch line and not paid attention to any storyline and just included a comic book with various action figures. If they had done that, but 7 inches, this one would have been a Marvel Legends killer, because at $25 for these, with all the stuff that you already get in the package, this would be a great value if the comic book were on point. That said, the 3-inch wave absolutely demolishes the Marvel Legend 3.75 wave. Stick a fork in those Marvel Legends, those ones are done. Now that we've looked at these action figures, guys, what I'd like to see next in the 7-inch wave is 10 Nights of the Beast. Like I just said, I think that would be a really great choice if they want to do a Page Punchers version with a series of comics, and we could get a whole new version of the KG Beast from McFarlane Toys. That would be awesome. We could get a retro version of Batman. As far as a 3-inch line, I'd like to see some more classic characters, so I think really obvious choices here would be Wonder Woman and the Joker and any number of supervillains. More villains, please. Well guys, what do you think of these Page Punchers? Are these ones that you absolutely have to have? Do you like the 3-inch version better than the 7-inch version? Or are you all in on all of these? Let me know what you think of these toys. I would love to hear from you, and don't forget to say what you want to see in the 3-inch and 7-inch lines next. If you want to learn more about McFarlane Toys' last DC Multiverse release, you can check out my Blackest Night Atrocitus video here.